It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, my friends, what's happening in Harrisburg today? We have with us today Representative Tarah Toohil, representing the 116th Pennsylvania Legislative District. As you know, Tarah comes on the show periodically to fill us in on what's happening in Harrisburg. Tarah, first of all, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Sam.
It's surprising. Summer is a busy time for you guys. I thought you'd be just doing nothing, sitting around at the beach someplace, you know.
Well, we get to get out of Harrisburg, get out of the capital, and come home and work on the issues that are important to the people at home.
Yeah. Tarah, I just had Dan Muser on, I had, of course, Lieutenant Governor on. I try to give the viewers facts instead of nonsense, because we're so tired of hearing political nonsense and everyone's trying to jockey for positions. The fact of the matter is, in 2010, okay, the state of Pennsylvania, and folks, listen to me carefully here, because these are facts. I'm not lying here. Just imagine in 2010, when Governor Corbett came into office, he inherited a $4.2 billion debt. Okay, now, I don't care who you're going to blame. The point is he got that. So now you guys come in 2010 and you have to do things to adjust that.
Yes. Because
that's a serious debt, okay? So what did you begin to start doing? And then we'll bring us up to date of where we are right now, Tarah.
Well, we've made cuts in almost every level of government. Even the legislators, they lost the state cars that they had. Everyone had to look at their own agency and start to make a cut. And also, we made a commitment that we didn't want to tax the people, because the people that elected me are telling me, I'm losing my house, I don't have enough, my job doesn't pay me enough, and they don't need their state government living beyond their means. And that's really what was going on for so long. We'd had 8 years under Governor Rendell where there was not an on-time budget, and where we did have billions and billions of dollars in deficits. So we've been able to hold the line on that and just start to reform government so that we have good government, that's less government, that's costing you less money. So the last 3 budgets that I've been involved with, we have not raised taxes. And you're still getting your taxes raised on the local level by the school boards and your property taxes, but at least you're not having the state come in and tax you more money as well.
So with that being said, here again, there's always the people voted for Corbett because of what he said. He said he wanted to straighten out the state of Pennsylvania. And I know I have people out there just saying, here he goes again, promoting Corbett. You know, when a person's doing their job, well, we have to I don't care if Corbett was a Democrat, it doesn't make any difference. The point is that he is doing his job. You people are coming in now beginning to tackle all these problems. And as you tackle problems, you know, you do make some waves, okay? But now we hear from, I'm on the list. Why I'm on this list? I get this wacky emails from this wacko in Harrisburg telling me how we should dump Corbett and he's a bum and he's anti-women, you know, come on, send me $10, send me $20. And it disturbs me because they're all lies, okay? When you're looking at the budget and you're looking at trying to get yourself back on, they said that Corbett is anti-education. To my knowledge, and according to what Dan Muser said, this is the highest amount of money that we ever had in an education bill.
I think that it's his philosophy on teachers and unions that is what's so glaring that people would be able to say that. But I know that what I've done is I've been able to vote for the largest, 3 years in a row, the largest increase. And this last year was the largest increase to education. And for Hazleton Area School District, we were able to get $1.7 million for Hazleton. Whereas last year I was able to get $600,000 extra. We basically tripled that. And that comes down to the way that the school board has more money. They're going to be able to manage that money. We need to get less children in each classroom. We need to have more classes. In other school districts, you know, instead of 30 kids, a teacher will have 17 kids in their class, and that makes a huge, huge difference in the education that those children are getting. So I've been glad to vote for more money than ever before for education, and I'm very, very pro-teacher and very pro-education.
Is it not a fact that this year we have the highest amount of money in education than we ever had?
Yes, than we have ever had.
And so that's when I
and that's one of the things you're going to hear. And in the last campaign, they were saying Tarah Toohil cut education. Well, I didn't, but in campaigns they can just say whatever they want.
And this is what I get so frustrated with these politicians who lie, particularly to the senior citizens, how they come out and lie and lie and lie to them. And unfortunately, they believe them. The Democrats are going to, or the Republicans are going to take away your Social Security. The Republicans are going to destroy the educational system. Republicans are going to destroy, they don't have no respect for women, okay? And, you know, seniors, you know, still feel, are prey to that. And it's just sad that, you know, this continues on. I mean, it frustrates me.
I think you look at, and that's with the welfare fraud and the waste. We have 2 years ago a Democratic Auditor General, Jack Wagner. He said that we had $1 billion in waste and fraud, and that didn't go away overnight. And that's something I constantly get phone calls about. You know, the people with the access cards at the grocery store, the amount of money that you know, people are in fancy cars, living in fancy houses, and they have all this extra money from the welfare program. And it's the seniors and veterans. I mean, if anybody should be getting more, it should be our seniors that are just scraping by, going from pill to pill on their medication. And the veterans have done so much that we can even have your TV show. They protect all those freedoms, and yet our veterans are always going without. So in my line of work, that's what I try to do, is reach out to them. At least the office is open for them, and we try to get to every single agency and form of assistance that we can have for those veterans and those seniors.
Well, you know, Tarah, you know, I get criticized because I'm a strong supporter of Governor Corbett, not because he's a Republican, but because he said he was doing certain things. Now, is he making, or do we all do things always 100% correct? No. But a majority of times you do, and he has been doing a job constantly, and then you're running for office, you know, and then sometimes, you know, you don't, you know, everyone wants to be popular, but someone has to do a job, okay? And when you do a job, sometimes you frustrate people to a degree. When you look at this budget and you're looking at what you're doing, there's some key issues that happen here that some people, for example, they changed the name. You were telling me they changed it. Now listen to this, folks. Let me tell you how you are getting ripped off in this state of Pennsylvania. Just listen to this nonsense that you're going to hear right now.
Because it changes the way we can even talk about it, because they changed the name. So
the
department, it's outrageous.
It used to be called the Department of Welfare, correct?
Department of Public Welfare.
Department of Public Welfare. But because we're getting nervous that we're going to offend some people, what happened?
They changed the name, and I voted against it, but changed the name of the Department of Public Welfare so that it's now going to be called the Department of Human Services. And
how much did that cost the state of Pennsylvania?
It's $1 million. Yeah.
So here's $1 million
so
bucks.
Instead of fighting crime in Hazleton,
let's throw $1 million bucks away. And you know what? I'm going to have people come on this show, and I'm going to tell you what. They're going to tell me why we should have changed the name and why this is the greatest thing since sliced bread when you change $1 million, which is completely nonsense.
Right. And I think, and people were saying, you know, you're not being sympathetic to people with needs, but
isn't that a lot of bull?
And the $1 million is going towards signs that have to be replaced and stationary. And I just thought, you know, that could go towards health care for children. That could go, I mean, we have so many needs. To spend $1 million on changing a name, I think is just completely ridiculous. And eventually, Human Services is going to have fraud, and they're going to have their access cards, and they're going to still have the same problems, and we're going to have to pay to change the name of that too.
You know why
so
they do that?
I was very upset by that.
You know why they do that? You know why they're doing that, folks? Because they want votes. That's what they want. They want to buy votes. They want people to be dependent on the government. They want people to do that, as well as our president wants everybody to be dependent on the government. That's my opinion. When we come back, we'll talk about the Medicare situation, the Medicaid situation. And talk about the liquor. We'll talk about transportation, talk about pensions. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. 24/7 SSPTV.com. My email, sam@ssptv.com. My guest today, Representative Tarah Toohil from the 116th Pennsylvania Legislative District. And once again, I want to thank you and some of the state reps and senators who come on the show to talk about this. Okay, now you saw my frustration because I see what's happening. I have breakfast sometimes with some people, and I could see that we have these staunch Obama people that Obama could say anything he wants and they believe everything he said. And look where the country's going. We're going right down the toilet, which is a tribute to him and Obamacare. Anyway, Medicaid. What's happening on Medicaid?
Well, Medicaid is, and for the viewers out there, Medicaid and Medicare are completely different. Medicare is what the seniors have for their health care. That's completely separate. Medicaid is a form of welfare. So Medicaid, when you hear all this talk about Medicaid expansion, it is a form of welfare and it's a form of expansion. And basically, President Obama has given the states a choice on whether they want to expand Medicaid. We already have Medicaid in Pennsylvania, which is if you are a welfare recipient, you can get your health care paid for. Right now we have 1 in 7 people, it's like 1 in 6, 1 in 7 people in Pennsylvania have welfare paying for their medical expenses. So with Medicaid expansion, it would go down from 1 in 7 down to 1 in 4. It actually expands it. So more people are going to be on medical welfare. And I think that it's such an important issue because the federal government is promising us and they're saying, hey, we're going to pay for it. We're going to pay for it for the first year. Then after 3 years, you're going to have to, the states are going to have to start paying. But the federal government making promises to us right now about what they're going to pay for your medical bills. So you're expanding welfare, you're expanding the number of people that are needy and need the government to pay for things. And that's taxpayers, that's everybody out here watching. They're going to be the ones that pay for other people to have health care. And so you're going to expand that, and you're going to end up making it so that you're relying on the federal government to foot the bill when we have people losing their jobs at Toby Hanna. People are getting furloughed up at Toby Hanna. So our federal government can't even, on our national defense promises, they can't even hold true on those. And you know what's gone on with the fiscal cliff. We haven't had a budget in how many years nationally. So really we have to look at that. If we're going to enter into a contract with the federal government, that even President Obama is saying, hey, the states have a choice. The president gave us that choice on whether we wanted to enter into it or not.
Well, you know what he wants you to do, don't you?
Well, they want us to enter into it, of course.
Of course he wants to do that.
Of course.
Just like, it fascinates me. I was just talking to a friend of mine, and I said it's interesting to find out, when you look at Lackawanna County, and you look at Senator Casey from Lackawanna County, very close friends with the president, Congressman Cartwright from Lackawanna County, very close with the Democrat Biden. Biden, who claims to be born and raised in Scranton, is the best thing since sliced bread. And then you have Clinton comes up. They all want the votes, and they're the highest in unemployment, okay? What happened to all these politicians to save Toby Hanna? Where is all the strength here that we're supposed to get? But they come in, they want votes. And, it's funny how many times I'm going to tell you, I'm taking care of you and you still have nothing.
Right.
And I'm going to save all your property taxes and you're still paying more money. And people continue to vote for these people. I don't understand this. I don't understand it.
I guess there's just such apathy, or because even there were protesters outside of our office about the Medicaid expansion.
You see, you're a bad person because you.
Well, they were paid though. Yeah. It turns out that the protesters were paid protesters. Yeah. So that made me feel better. And then a lot of them weren't from Hazleton, so that made me feel a little bit better. But it's important. And I was saying, that's great. If you want to protest, it's good to at least be engaged. At least I was happy that the people were engaged in the political process. But then it turns out that they were getting paid for it. So
well, that's what happened with some of the meetings that Barletta had. The committees were paying people to go and then they had the liberal press in there and do that. And see, that's why I'm frustrated, Tarah. I get frustrated because I see the abuse that's happening and I see the lies. They're turning Medicaid into Medicare. They're letting people believe that that Medicaid, they're going to take this away from you, and it's all lies. Right. Another thing, Tarah, you don't really care about people who are in need, do you?
No,
because
I do.
Well, no, what they say is, believe me, you don't care about people in need. I'm the most giving person you could imagine, but they're ripping us off. The fraud that's out there, the access cards, there's people that are standing in line trying to support themselves, and these people just ripping through and laughing at us on top of it. I mean, no wonder why we're frustrated.
Right. It's very frustrating. And then something that in my community, whenever I have a town hall meeting, I'll have, out of 10 people, you'll have 8 of them that just want to scream and yell. They're so upset over welfare fraud. And now you've changed the name of the very thing that I'm trying to have integrity and fairness and accountability in. You're changing the name. So I was just so frustrated by that. And people are afraid to vote against changing the name because they don't want to seem like they're unsympathetic.
But that's not the truth. The fact is, there are a lot of they want to help people that need the help. Okay, but remember too, Tara, it's going on Corbett's 3rd year, and you have the Democrats. I'm talking about the wacko Democrats who are really nervous. They see the state coming back. They see jobs coming back. They see education being increasing, and they're saying, "Oh my God, this guy is going to be doing. We're going to lose another election on top of it." And what they continue to do is keep on propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. And I don't mind propaganda if it's fact. Let's talk about propaganda. And you know, Senator Udicak's a very good friend of mine. Now, there's a conflict going on here between Udicak and not conflict, but misinterpretation. Senator Udicak said on this show that we're going to lose 30,000 jobs if we privatize the liquor stores. Dan Muser says we're going to be increasing jobs.
Right.
Okay. And here again, now remember, Senator Udicak is a Democrat. Senator Udicak may be a governor someday, and he's a great person. But how much politics is being played, and how much are they being told in their Democratic caucus?
I think that the problem is you'll always find someone to give you a number that's in favor with whatever you're trying to say. It just depends on how they skew the numbers. The liquor stores, that was very contentious. And that really is, that's the big 3 going into the fall that Governor Corbett and the Republicans were trying to make headway on, is privatizing liquor stores. And that's a philosophical question on whether, do you think, and maybe people vacationed out of state, but do you think that the liquor store should be run by the government? It's proven that it doesn't prevent drunk driving deaths, that the government in Pennsylvania is the one that sells you your alcohol. And it's a question of, is that what you think a government employee should be doing? Because the government doesn't have to pay for that. You can have private enterprise. You yourself could open up your own liquor store or have wine in the grocery store. And it's a philosophical discussion. It's something that's been since the 1920s that we've had the government controlling. It's okay to have enforcement. Obviously, we want people to be arrested if they're serving or selling or serving underage people. But do you want to spend money and have pensions for people that are government employees? Should they be in liquor stores? It's just a philosophical question. And there is a cost savings that's associated with getting the government out of the liquor store business. So that's one of the things right there. I mean, the Democrats have different numbers than the Republicans have.
See, well, and look, I'm all for keep the people that are working liquor stores today. I really would like to see them have their jobs,
right?
Because these people did work and they went into a system. They didn't realize that they're going to get involved.
And it's not their fault that it's archaic.
Exactly, and I'm hoping that the state certainly takes care of those people who are working in the liquor stores today, because believe me, they deserve that. In the same token, from what I hear from Dan Muser, now again, he's the Secretary of Revenue, I think he knows a little bit about that this will actually create a lot of jobs and bring a lot more revenue, because people are buying liquor out of state, bringing more revenue in this and making, anytime you have private enterprise involved, there's always a growth that private enterprise comes in. Folks, I'm talking to Representative Tarah Toohil. We'll come back. Folks, listen, don't get mad at me about some of my comments. My comments are factual comments, folks, and I welcome everybody. I've been trying to get Senator Casey on the Sam Lesante Show from day one. Senator Casey has not responded to coming on. I'm trying to get Senator Toomey. Of course, I haven't got to him yet. But I think these people should come on, and Congressman Cartwright is going to be coming back on, and we'll be asking him those questions. Of course, Congressman Barbarella is always here to respond to giving you information. The more you know, folks, the better educated you'll be. You see the problems we're having in the country today because people just think they're nice people. Let's vote for them because he's a nice guy. Be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. 24/7, SSPTV.com. My guest, Tarah Toohil. I get excited about these shows. You know that, Tarah? I really do get excited because, you know, it's interesting how I see, you know, and I feel sorry for people. You know, I feel sorry for those people that are being brainwashed and you know, lied to, and you know, and they believe that stuff. You know, they really believe that stuff without checking the Congress. You know, these bleeding hearts that want to give everybody away, and then they get sold.
Well, we had uncovered that during my first campaign, trying to figure out where did the gaming money go.
Yeah.
Because people are told, hey, you're going to get property tax relief, and then everyone was saying, well, I don't feel relieved. Where's my property tax relief? And that's one of the biggest hidden secrets in Harrisburg, is that when they passed table games in 2010, when that got passed, it was told, Ed Rendell and my predecessor, everyone on the House floor was saying, you are going to get property tax relief again for this second stage of gaming. And it turns out there is absolutely no revenue from table games that comes back to the people at all. Well, and that was just a big fat lie, but nobody ever wants to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, Dan Muser really explained a lot of it, and it's an open. There's full transparency, you know, in the numbers games. And I was very, because I was the same way. Where's this money going? Let's talk about transportation.
Well, transportation, we had a new transportation package, and the problem with it is that it was, and it's still up for discussion. It hasn't been voted up or down yet. But the transportation package was going to increase, potentially increase your gas at the pump. So a lot of people looked at that as that would be raising taxes, and that's going to hurt the little guy, because all of us, when we travel to and from our jobs, are very affected by the price of gas. Right now, the price of gas is doable, but the minute it starts to go above $4 or up to $4 and above $4, it really affects us in our wallets. So that's really kind of where the discussion has stopped, is just at, you know, are we going to raise the gas tax on people? It is a usage tax, and it would be getting, you know, people are paying in. I mean, those are the people that are driving on the roads. Those are the people that are incurring damage to their vehicles as they drive on roads with potholes. So looking at the transportation funding, I want to make sure that all of our projects here in northeastern Pennsylvania, our projects out near Can-Do, 424, 924, we have to make sure that we get those expansions, because it does affect business and it does affect the jobs here in northeastern PA.
Tarah, John Rich has been on this show a number of times, going back to 1999 when I first got it, and you know what I'm talking about with the coal gasification plant. If that plant would have been up and running today, there would have been 10 more times of those plants out there utilizing our coal, all clean environmental, etc. And our gas would be today maybe $1.50, $2 a gallon. Okay, everyone knows that.
This is a topic that totally infuriates me, because the federal government is so anti-coal, and Pennsylvania is not fighting hard enough. Everything, I mean, we have an act in Pennsylvania, we have a law where state facilities are supposed to burn coal. They're supposed to be loyal to coal. And right now there's a group of legislators that are trying to change that, because obviously natural gas is cheap and it's everywhere. And they're trying to change it now so that those facilities aren't going to burn coal anymore. And those, my coal guys that live all around here, they're not able to expand their businesses. They're not able to employ as many people as they used to be able to employ. And coal is, I mean, it's right here, it's right underneath us. So I think that we should be supporting, yes, natural gas, but also don't forget about our coal and our coal history. It is there, it is cheap. Other countries are exporting it and they're burning it. And we have our president is coming down so hard on our coal burning places, and that makes it impossible for someone like John Rich to expand his business because of the EPA.
Where is Senator Casey? Where is Congressman Cartwright? Where are all the senators and the people that have the influence, and saying, Mr. President, look, you cannot do this. You're just, you know, you want to talk about coal people? They're hardest working people that you'd imagine. These coal people that are out there, okay, we know some of them more, but you know how much charity these coal people give?
Right.
They do so much for the communities, you know, in helping people who are cancer or kids, and donating a lot of money. But people don't even know that, and their families that can't afford it. There's so many people that these coal people help.
Right.
Okay, it's just amazing. And yet, what does the president do? He thumbs his nose at them and wants to put them out of business.
And everything that I'm trying to do on the state level to help coal goes right up against the EPA, because you can fix it and make it so that, I mean, we've been able, for Camp Hill and Dallas in Pennsylvania, we're able to hold them to their contracts and say, hey, you know, you promised that you were going to burn coal in these facilities, and by law you're supposed to, but the EPA is putting in billions of dollars worth of renovations and new standards, new regulations, and it is just putting them out of business.
Well, you get what you ask for, Tarah. You know, and this is when people say, how could this happen? How can it happen? Well, folks, it happens because you listen to all the nonsense that these people are giving you. I've said it time and time again, folks. You're going to pick a doctor out, you're going to check him out from A to Z. You're not going to worry about whether he's black, pink, yellow, turquoise, Republican, Democrat. You vote for qualifications. Get involved. You're getting ripped off big time by people who are just have selfish motives, and it's going to get worse in the next 2 years because they want their power back, and they're going to try to get it back any way they possibly can, and you're going to suffer for that. Tarah, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
If you want to get in touch with Tarah, you always know where to get it. Tarah Toohil. You go to her website, and she's there to respond as your needs are there. She'll be hopefully to take care of them, correct?
Yes, come visit us at our office, especially if you know veterans that are out there. Any of the veterans, they don't reach out and they don't fight for services or care. And we have a bus that comes down, and we also have veteran services right here in our office.
My director's going crazy. We'll see you next time on the Sam Lesante Show.
Don't know where to look.